Hey there, I hope everybody's doing great today. I'm gonna try a new recipe. I've not tried to cook with butternut squash yet, so I thought I would give this one a shot. It is a pasta with butternut squash and a sage brown butter, so it sounds really good. It's only 253 calories, and I'm using whole wheat pasta, so it'll help with my carb cravings. I've never chopped up a butternut squash before, so I had to Google this and we'll see how it goes. Today's recipe calls for 1 medium butternut squash, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 pound of cooked whole wheat pasta, a teaspoon of table salt and a teaspoon of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, a half a cup of shallots, 1 tablespoon of fresh sage, 1/4 a cup of chopped pecans, and 1 teaspoon of Parmesan cheese. So I will say this was not nearly as scary as I thought it was going to be. It was a little time consuming. You just have to basically cut it into 2 pieces and then take the skin off. I can't find my peeler, so instead of using the vegetable peeler, I used the knife. And if you have one of these kind of spoons, these are awesome. They are serrated on the edges. I got them one year as a Christmas stocking stuffer, believe it or not, and I asked for them. And they're for grapefruits really, but they worked really well for scraping out the seeds on the inside of the squash. So luckily my knives are sharpened. My friend Thomas Richards owns the Mobile Stone, and he actually came here to the house and went ahead and sharpened my knives as well as my neighbors. So if you want to support local, look up the Mobile Stone here in Charlotte, North Carolina, or you can usually find him at the farmer's market in Yorkmont. I'm not sure if that's still going on right now or not with the current conditions. But go ahead and take your squash and add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I love these. These are Williams-Sonoma. And you want to mix this up. You also want to add 1 teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. I'm just going to get my hands in here and give this a good mix. So it's time for the squash to go into the oven. The oven's set at 400 degrees and it goes in for 30 minutes, but I'm going to check it every 10 just to smoosh them around and make sure that they're getting caramelized. And yes, smoosh is the proper terminology. So the shallots didn't go quite as smoothly as I had hoped for. Sure enough, I had a reaction. I had to stop and clean up my eye makeup. Now I'm just chopping up the sage. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. I'm gonna definitely be growing some of this in the backyard this season, along with parsley and basil. I have a ton of dried herbs in the pantry, but if you can cook with fresh, definitely cook with fresh. I think it makes all the difference in the world. Okay, so as you can see, our butter and oil is doing its thing and it's starting to get bubbly. So I'm going to go ahead and add the shallots and the sage. And I believe also a little smidge of salt. We're gonna go ahead and cook this up, and we're just gonna stir it until the shallots are soft for about 2 or 3 minutes. Wow, that looks really good. Smells good too. So our squash is on its final 10 minutes of cooking. I just smooshed everything around, and this will be ready shortly. Our water is finally boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our pasta. And we're going to cook that al dente. So I've drained the pasta and I've just gone ahead and popped the butternut squash out of the oven. I've added the squash to the pecan, shallot, oil, butter, sage mixture. And the next step is going to be to toss it with the cooked pasta and serve with Parmesan. Well, I have to tell you, this turned out even better than I expected. The butternut squash is nice and sweet from being caramelized in the oven, The nice thing about butternut squash is it's low in calories, but it has vitamin A, vitamin C, magnesium, and potassium, and it will fill you up. So again, could potentially aid with weight loss. So I'm just trying to get my vegetables in because I know I'm bad about that. I hope this was helpful to you guys too, and have a good evening.